Hello, and this is King here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and I thought I'd do a video here using a block debuff slash cleanse champion. I've had a lot of requests for it. So this is what we're going to go with. So we've got Rio Bone Spear in. You can use other champions like Pythion and what's a really good shield guy's name? Brogni. Oh, I wish I had Brogni. But the only issue when you use them is that you've got to be very careful with your stun targeting. So depending on the clan boss affinity will depend what you need to do with your affinity. So as long as you got the cleanse and block debuff champion faster than Helicath, all you then need to make sure is that one, that the block debuff champion won't be taking the stun, and if they do, they can deal with it, such as Rio can deal with it. And two, that Seeker will not take the stun hit. That's the other key important part there. Now, of course, you can also do this team in the Deacon style team, with Deacon using the speed aura instead of Seeker and then all of that, but it does become a little bit tricky. Now, I thought I would use Rio Bone Spear just so it was easy to show and everything like that. And also she brings the decreased defense as well, so I could use Rhonda in my DPS slot. Now this team, I've got Warcaster turning off his A2 because his A1 does more damage, and not that you need to, but I'm prioritizing the A3. If you're unsure on all the speeds, they are here on the right hand side, but I've also done previous videos going more about the speeds, but we'll get into that as well at the end. At the end of the run, I'll get into more detail with your speed minimums and maximums. So Warcaster has good attack, good critical damage. Critical rate's a little bit low, but he's got the aura because he's in the lead, which will bump his critical rate up. Then we got Rhonda. Now she's unbooked, completely unbooked, totally 100% unbooked. And then as for her stats, she's only got 203 critical damage, 4.6k attack, 219 speed, and 100% critical rate. Now I thought this would be a nice modest build, so that way you could actually see, because I've got her in Relentless set, forgot to say that. So I've got her in a Relentless set, and then she's also got that passive. This way you can see the sort of damage she can put out, and a team like this can put out, and really show how crazy Relentless can be. I have not ran this team yet, but I expect it to easy 1k. Easy. That's my assumption. I hope I'm right. I hope I haven't completely misjudged her stats, but still 203 critical damage is decent. From Rio Bone Spear, we're going to open with her A2, but prioritize her A3. So she's coming up with 250 speed. She just needs to be faster than Helicath. And I've tried to sneak in a little bit of damage, but because it's a high speed, I didn't want to go crazy. And then of course she's also got accuracy to place her decreased defense, as well as a few other wasted debuffs. Then we've got Helicath turning off his A2 as his A1 does more damage, and also delaying his A3, which is the block damage by one turn. He's at 248 speed, just slower than Rio. Then we've got Seeker opening with the A1, and so on. So that's the team, full auto, and kapow. Now I didn't test run this team, which I seem to never do. I need to start doing that. So hopefully the speed tune is all good and all up to schmack. But yeah, the team should go pretty well. As for blessings, I think Rio and Helicath have Brimstone, a 1 and a 2 star. Then we've got Seeker has, I think, a 2 star with Phantom Touch, and Warcaster has 6 star with Cruelty. So that Cruelty will help a lot. And then Rhonda, I don't think she has any blessing. But again, we'll show you the builds more in depth and go more in depth on the speeds after the run. It's a 2-to-1 ratio team. I'm sure you've seen this team appear a few times in my videos. It is my main team, but of course I use a Doom Priest to cleanse, and then Doom Priest goes in Rio Bone Spear spot, and then I use a fast DPS champion. Sorry, other way around. Doom Priest goes in Rhonda's spot, the slow spot, and then I use a fast DPS champion in Rio's spot, namely Acrisia. And that team's pretty cool. On a good day, it can hit just shy of 150 mil. So yeah, anyway, this is the team. We're getting a few toxic out and all of that, thanks to Hurlycath's gear. But I'll catch you back at the end, and we'll see how much damage we've done. I'll fast forward it. I won't cut it. That way you can just, see it all happen before your eyes in mere seconds. Anyway, yeah, I'll catch you near the end. Cheers. And now, here we are, coming up to almost 100 million damage. And as you can see, Ronda hits are not too crazy. A lot of the other champions are actually doing more damage per hit, and even sometimes more damage per ability than what she is. But she's just getting so many attacks without relentless procs. I think she might have a counterattack accessory, I'm not too sure. And obviously her passive ability in your corner, where she gets to join other allies. So I was really keen to see what sort of damage she pulled out with this team. Pretty good damage. I quite like it. Again, with Cruelty, a 6-star Cruelty, you expect to hit some really good damage numbers. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because she got a lot of attacks, and just crazy. We're about to die here, so it should be quite fun. And as you can see, Rio Bone Speed has kept everything nice and affinity friendly. Turn 50, 103 million, 103.6 million damage. So Warcaster with 15.8, Ronda with 31.7 million, Rio with 15.6, Hurlycath with 23.7. His damage would be so high because of the toxic set and the smite that he was placing. And then Seeker with 16.7. So yeah, Ronda absolutely smashing our damage with just doing so many attacks and getting so many of those Giant Slayer procs. Absolutely ridiculous damage. But that's the team there that you just simply need for to do a block debuff champion instead of having like a Doom Priest cleanser. Oops. So I'll get into the champion builds. I'll just double check my speeds and then we'll jump straight into the champions. So we'll start with the fastest champion, which is Warcaster. Now the masteries I've got on Warcaster, on most of my champions you'll see almost the exact same mastery setup, where I'm picking up Law of Steel to make the speed set give me a bit extra speed to make gearing easier, and then of course picking up Deadly Precision, Heart of Glory, going straight down to Warmaster, and also picking up Keen Strike. That is my general go-to. With Ronda, of course, I'll be picking up Giant Slayer. I'll show you each of them, but they're all pretty much exactly the same. If I'm not picking up Law of Steel, there might be some reason for it, but we'll see how that goes. So Warcaster. Again, he's got a Cruelty Blessing, a 23% critical rate aura in all battles for Void. He's got his block damage for 1 turn on a 4-turn cooldown, turning off his A2 and just sticking on with the A1. His artifacts, I've got 2 speed sets and a critical damage set with 1 counterattack accessory. So he's got 77% critical rate, which with his aura comes to exactly 100. So he's got 266 speed, which is right on the low end. So he can have a minimum of 265 speed, all the way up to 289 speed. Now when you do speed tunes, a good suggestion is aim for 1 in from the maximum and minimum. So if the minimum is 265, try and aim for 266, and the maximum is 289, so 288. Aim for 266 to 288, and you cannot be wrong, because your speed sets and all of that can only fractionally change it they can't change it by multiple without it actually coming up. So that's a good way to make sure that you're not messing up with your speed tune. Your true speed is correct. Now, of course, I've got him dealing a bunch of damage and a bunch of critical damage. It's really high critical damage. I wish I had more counterattack accessories on him. I am trying to get them, but I just can't seem to get lucky with a critical damage on the amulet or a really good attack ring either, because the counterattack accessories on him would just be really, really good for damage. So that's Warcaster. He is the fastest champion. Now the next fastest champion is actually going to be your Seeker. Now I'm going in this order because a lot of the champions can actually have an overlap of speed, but you got to make sure that you have, for example, Seeker's minimum is lower than Rio's maximum, but you got to make sure that you keep Seeker faster. So you got to have the right speed order. So we've got Seeker here. Of course, we've got going down to Warmaster. Now Seeker, I didn't need to pick up Law of Steel, so actually I went and picked up the Deterrence to get a chance to counterattack. This is because I usually use a Doom Priest, and I get that stun placed, and then I cleanse it. So it's really, really a good way to do it. Even in this Rio Bone Spear team, I think the same thing occurred, where we were getting the stun hit, and then Rio was cleansing it. But other than that, pretty standard. Now, Seeker's skills, I got Phantom Touch for the Blessing. Aura doesn't matter. Passive would not come into effect here, or not really anyway, because I got block damage, it doesn't matter. And we've got attack one enemy 2 times, but A2 is where it's all at, with the increased turn meter and granting an extra turn. As for his artifacts, I've got 2 speed sets and a cruel set with 1 counterattack accessory. He's at 252 speed, so his minimum is 245. His maximum is 256. So aim from 246 to 255 and you should be safe. And make sure he is the second fastest of your champions. Then, after Seeker, his stats are pretty good. So almost 4k attack, crit cap, and 173 critical damage. And he still does a bunch of damage from that. His A1 is damage based on attack, even though he's a defensive champion. Bit weird, but yeah, is what it is. It still hits pretty hard with that A1, even though the stats are moderate and reasonable, I would say. Now, the next champion we're going to go is the Cleanser champion, as in this. I used Rio Bone Spear. Now, just to be clear, you can use a champion like Pythion or Brogni, but then you just need to make sure that your cleansing champion, Python and Brogni, are not taking the stun hit. And then also you've got to make sure that Seeker isn't taking the stun hit. So if you bring Pythion in against, say, Spirit Affinity clan boss, you're going to need a Force Affinity DPS champion to take the stun hit. Now if you're going up against Force Affinity clan boss and you bring Pythion, you're going to need a Magic Affinity DPS champion to take the stun, so Seeker doesn't take it. And then in the same standards, taking out Rio means that your DPS champion is going to need to bring decreased defense, like Anax. Anax is amazing in a block damage team because he doesn't lose any HP and he hits like a truck. Now, as for Rio Bone Spear, I didn't have to pick up Law of Steel to reach her speeds, and I don't have the masteries for Deterrence, otherwise that would have been really good to pick up, because she does hit quite hard. Of course, going down to Warmaster and Heart of Glory and so on, as per standard. Skills, we've got the Brimstone. I'm not sure if hers came into play much. Of course, we got the Cleanse, we got the debuffs with wasted debuffs, we got the Self-Cleanse, and the Continuous Heal. None of that really matters. So she's got 2 speed sets, a perception set, and 1 counterattack accessory. She's at 250 speed, 3.3k attack, a little bit on the low side, 159 critical damage. It's alright for this sort of champion with this speed, and crit capped with enough accuracy to place the decreased defense. Now Rio Bone Spear can have a minimum of 240 speed and a maximum of 251. But again, you need to make sure that Rio is slower than Seeker, but faster than Helicath. That's quite important. Again, I would also try and aim between 241 and 250, so that way you know you're going to be right. And then thirdly, we've got the Helicath, the man that makes the team. So he's in a toxic set. No counterattack accessories, unfortunately, but I haven't looked at it recently. Maybe there is some available. Oh wow, there's a lot of rings available. So maybe I would actually be able to put him into a counterattack accessory, and I just realized what I'm saying. He does not need it because of his passive, where he counterattacks whenever, with the default skill, whenever an ally is hit while under block damage, and everybody's always under block damage. So yeah, he doesn't need counterattack. My bad. At least I picked up on it straight away. His masteries are picking up Law of Steel, picking up War Master, pretty much standard as per this team. Don't have him fully booked. I only used as many books as I needed to try and get the A3 on a 3-turn cooldown. I got quite unlucky with the books, but as it is. Now his stats, I got 3.8k defense, crit cap with 161 critical damage, and almost 300 accuracy. Speed is at 248. This can be anywhere between 239 and 250. Again, needs to be slower than Rio Bone Spear. Now the one thing I like about you bringing in Rio Bone Spear is that your DPS champion doesn't need to be have decreased defense, because she can bring it, and it also allows you to have the slower speed for your DPS champion. But yeah, a little bit off topic there. Well, not really, just bad timing. Helicath, yeah, hits like a truck. 2-star Brimstone Blessing. Get a little bit of HP, and that's it. And then lastly, we have got the Rhonda. So she's got 0 books, absolutely 0 books. She has got a attack aura, which you could have used, but I opted, of course, to go for the critical rate for Warcaster. Her masteries are Law of Steel and Giant Slayer, also trying to pick up Methodical, as well as Heart of Glory. Her artifacts is a Relentless set and 2 speed sets. She's got no counterattack accessories. She could do really well with those. She's got crit cap, 219 speed, 203% critical damage, which is really low for a team that's doing 100 million, and 4.6k attack, which is decent. Her speeds can be anywhere between 218 and 230, but of course you want to cut that into maybe like 219 to 229, and then you should be right after that. Again, just make sure that she is the slowest champion, and then she doesn't end up to be faster than Helicath, because in theory that's possible, because she can get to 230 and Helicath can get to 239. Or no, it's not. I was thinking 229. But yeah, so she's the slowest. Make sure her speeds are in point and a lot of damage. Good DPS champion. There's plenty of options for DPS, but yeah, Anax can hit like crazy as well, and he also brings the decreased defense. So that's really cool if you wanted to bring in a different cleanse champion. But if you do, you've got to be careful with the stun targeting. So if you're bringing in like a magic DPS champion, you might want to, like, say, there's options around. You might want to bring in a magic or a force or something like that just to counter. But if you've got someone like Rio, she's awesome. So that's the team with the block debuff sort of champion. Of course, you can use a champion that just does block debuff and doesn't have a cleanse in their kit, but then it becomes a lot harder with the stun targeting. The same system can work with the Deacon style team, but yeah, the speeds are obviously different to this team. But with this Deacon style team, the speeds are easier, and it's the same thing. You have your DPS champion as the slow, and then you have the cleanser as the other speed. And it also makes it a little bit different because the affinities are much more tight. But yeah, that's the champion builds, the team. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Please comment below. Would love it if you guys comment. I literally reply to every comment I can see. I just try to get to them, help everyone out I can, and yeah, interact with you guys. It's pretty awesome. So thanks again for watching, and let me know what you'd like to see next. I might be doing some videos if I get time with these new dungeons coming out. That's going to be some pretty crazy stuff coming out, but we'll see what happens, and catch you all at the next one. Cheers.